Grid Autosport was announced back in April, seemingly from out of nowhere. Grid 2 released in May of 2013, and this is a pretty quick turnaround for a follow-up. It was heavily criticized for it being too much of an arcade racer, not having a cockpit view, and countless other problems for racing game fans. Codemasters has heard these complaints loud and clear, and I can easily say that from the get-go, Grid Autosport gives off a good impression, and is much more professional and thought out as a racing game that leans towards simulation without succumbing to anything undesirable or too difficult for newcomers. It scales well. Season mode is restructured, with 5 disciplines to choose from: touring, endurance, open wheel, tuner, and street. You're never really restricted from switching between the different disciplines. You're only locked to certain type once you start a season. A season is a pretty lengthy series of races that must be completed before you're able to try something else. After a season is complete, you'll earn experience points from sponsorships for completing challenges. Each racing discipline has its own experience levels to earn that will unlock various rewards. The aforementioned cockpit view has returned, but it is relegated to an out-of-focus view. It works and makes sense for the point of view of the driver, putting focus on the road. But I think there still might be some fervor over this decision. Open wheel is the only type of race car that really benefits from this viewpoint. Other than that, it all comes down to preference, but there are plenty of angles to satisfy everyone. Driving any one of these cars feels tighter. Despite having a bunch of customizable options for difficulty, car upgrades, tuning, and things like that, the tires grip and the road does not feel like you're driving on ice, like in Grid 2. Mechanical damage is ever present. Now you can damage the steering, engine, and springs. More parts fly off now too. There's also on-screen indicators for your ABS, traction control, and stability control. Flashbacks are still available, where they can help you undo mistakes made in that final lap, but they are completely optional. You can even earn bonuses in the custom difficulty by turning down or off flashbacks. Being part of a team means having a teammate. Your teammate can be told what to do with any one of 5 things: defend, hold, balanced, push, and attack. They're very clear and can be enabled to lower the aggression with L1 or LB, or raise the aggression with R1 or RB. It's a small touch, but something that really helps. It's also all done via audio cues rather than a visual marker on the screen occupying unnecessary space. The AI is competent and challenging. There's still that notorious first turn crash that occurs, but beyond that, some racers will hold their line, others will be submissive to let themselves being taken over. Team Raven West is still the main rival in this series, and I really love the continuity of using them over and over again. Locations are promised to globetrot over 22 locations with 100 track permutations. There's a healthy dose of real-world tracks and makeshift tracks from the streets of a metropolitan city. All of them are absolutely stunning to look at. Advanced lighting is turned off here, as it causes the game to close within 10 to 15 seconds of launching. This is assured to be fixed by release, but beyond that, I am running everything on Ultra or at the highest setting possible, and with that, the game is running in 120 frames per second. But turning on VSync keeps a very steady 60 frames per second. Multiplayer was not available to be tested in this build of the game. Grid Autosport is coming out later this month on June 24th for Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. But having spent so many hours with it, I'm quite happy with what is close to the final product. I've put a link to the game in the description. Thanks to PR for Codemasters allowing us to check out the game early.